What is going on, college sports fans? Welcome back to another video. Today I have for you guys my 2022 Big Ten tournament predictions, and I'm ready to get right into it. I just want to say real quick, subscribe if you guys are new. We do a ton of college sports content here on the channel. We've been building a nice community, so make sure you guys subscribe. And if you guys want to see more videos like this, drop me a like, comment down below your thoughts on my picks. And yeah, let's get right into it, man. We'll start here with the left side. We got Nebraska versus Northwestern, and Nebraska's been spoiling some games here recently. I know they beat Ohio State, and yesterday they just beat Wisconsin in a huge upset. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick the Cornhuskers since they're playing good basketball right now. I think they'll be able to beat Northwestern. So give me Nebraska to move on to the next round. Let's see here. All right, so we got Nebraska moving on. Next up, we got Minnesota versus Penn State, and I'm going to pick the Nittany Lions, man. They have been playing teams very close this season, and Minnesota, I can't really say the same. I'm just not a huge believer in them this year. They have just not been good at all. So give me Penn State to move on in that one. Now let's go up here to Indiana versus Michigan in the 8 versus 9 matchup. Now this is a very tough one for me to pick because I really want to pick Indiana. But Michigan, they've been playing very good recently. And Indiana's, they haven't been playing bad. They've lost some heartbreakers, a buzzer beater to Rutgers. They lost an OT in Columbus to Ohio State recently. Like, it's been tough. They barely lost to Purdue on the road in Mackey Arena. So it's a tough loss after tough loss for Indiana. I really want to pick them to win, but I'm not sure. Michigan's been playing pretty well recently. They just knocked off Ohio State. Both these teams are kind of playing for their season, really. I mean, I was just looking at Joe Lunardi's updated bracketology, and he has Indiana right now as the first team out, literally the first team out of the tourney. So they are going to have to win at least this first game against Michigan if they want to get into the tourney. And you know what? Playing for their season, I know Michigan is also a bubble team, which makes this hard, and also their coach might be coming back because I think his suspension is up since the regular season's over, so maybe that hypes him up. I'm not sure, but I'm going to go ahead and pick Indiana, man. Playing for their season, they're the first team out right now. They see that. They're fighting for their chances to get into the tourney. Give me Indiana to move on to the quarterfinals. Next up, we got Nebraska versus Iowa. And I'm not going to pick Nebraska in this one. I know that they've been playing spoiler a lot, but I can't pick them to go any further, especially not against Iowa, man. Iowa is one of the hottest teams in the entire country right now. I know that they just lost, actually, to Illinois on the road yesterday, but they were in that game, man. Free throws killed them, and I don't see them losing to Nebraska here in this first round. So, yeah, I'm picking the Hawkeyes to move on to the quarterfinals. Next up, we got Maryland versus Michigan State, and I'm going to pick Michigan State to move on, man. Not a believer in this Maryland team. I know they picked up a win over Ohio State, but as you guys know, if you guys watch my videos, I'm not really high on Ohio State anyway. I don't think they're that great of a team. So, yeah. Michigan State, Sparty is moving on to the quarters. Penn State versus Ohio State. And I could very well see the Nittany Lions winning this game. Like, I just don't have that much trust in Ohio State. But I am going to pick the Buckeyes to move on in this first round because E.J. Liddell is such a great player. And they have more talent. They should win this game. So I'm going to go ahead and pick the Buckeyes here to move on. Now, let's see who's going to move on to the semifinals. We got Indiana versus Illinois up here in our first matchup. And I don't know if this first win against Michigan will be enough to get Indiana into the tourney. But I don't see them beating Illinois. I can't pick them against Illinois right here. I got to go with the Fighting Illini to move on to the semifinals. They are playing awesome basketball, and I think on this neutral-sided court, which is such a big thing to think about because there's not going to be home court advantages. I think the Illini might have more fans there, but it won't really affect too much there. Give me Illinois to win that one. I really like this Illinois team. They actually have not just Coburn and their senior guards, Trent Frazier and Alfonso Plummer, but some of their younger guys have been stepping up recently, and I've been seeing that. I think Illinois is a real sleeper for not just the Big Ten tourney, but the NCAA tourney. So I'm picking the Illini to go to the semis. Next up, we got Iowa versus Rutgers, and this is going to be a fun one. I really hope this matchup happens, and it should, considering, Rutgers is going to be there no matter what, and Iowa should be either Nebraska or Northwestern. So we're probably going to get this matchup, and it's going to be a good one. These are two of the hotter teams in the Big Ten, but I'm going to go with the Hawkeyes for right now. Rutgers is still a hot team. They were a hot team, but I think right now Iowa is hotter, and they're peaking at the right time. I think Rutgers, they peaked maybe just a tad too early. It was enough to probably get them into the NCAA tourney because they are the 4 seed right now in the Big Ten, which is a very good conference. So Rutgers still should have enough to get into the tourney. But yeah, I think Iowa is just too hot right now. Hawkeyes going to the semifinals for sure. Now we got Wisconsin versus Michigan State. Now this is a tough one because I'm not too much of a believer in Sparty this year, but Wisconsin, great team, had a great season. Shared the Big 12 or the Big 10 regular season title with Illinois. They would have had it purely to themselves if they had not lost to Nebraska yesterday. Yes, the 13th seed. They lost to Nebraska yesterday. Crazy game, but how are they going to recover from that and come back? They're going to have a lot of time to recover. Like, they don't play until Friday. These matchups are on Friday. I think they will. They're well coached. They'll be ready for MSU, and I'm going to pick the Badgers to move on in this one. Wisconsin going to the semis. Ohio State versus Purdue. And like I said, I'm not too high on this Ohio State team, but Purdue, listen, you guys need to play defense in these tourneys because these teams are going to be playing for their seasons. So after the Big Ten tournament and also in the NCAA one, Purdue's got to start playing some defense because they're a great offensive team, but they need to get stops, and I think they will against Ohio State. I'm going to pick Purdue here to move on to the semis. I just think purely they're the better team, and they'll be able to get the job done there. So give me Purdue to move on to the semis as well. In my opinion, these are the 4 best teams in the Big Ten in the Big Ten Conference. So I have them moving on to the semis. And we got 2 really good matchups that I would love to see. So let's go ahead and talk about them. Let's see who's going to move on to the Big Ten Championship, man. We got Illinois versus Iowa, rematch of the game that we just saw yesterday in the Big Ten regular season finale. Illinois versus Iowa, and I think it's different. It's different when it's not at Illinois. It's going to be a neutral site court, and I'm going to pick Iowa, man. I think that they played a great game yesterday. Free throws down the stretch killed them. They got off to an early lead. They blew it. But then it was back and forth, man. They were hanging in there, but they missed so many free throws down the stretch and really throughout the entirety of that game. And I think that had a lot to do with the home crowd of Illinois. But it will be the mental aspect I'm worried about going into this game for Iowa. I think they're a very hot team right now. How does that loss affect them? Are they going to get that mindset that they can't beat Illinois? Because if they have that mindset, then there's no way they're going to win that game. They have to have the mindset coming in like we should have won that game, and they got to be coming out for revenge. I think they will. Still one of the hottest teams in the entire country, like I've been saying, man. So give me the Hawkeyes to move on in this one. Wisconsin versus Purdue, and this is probably the toughest matchup to pick in this entire bracket, man. Both these teams, they have their weaknesses, but they're both like some of the best teams in the entire country. Johnny Davis versus Jaden Ivey. Who doesn't want to see it, man? A ton of fun. I still don't know who I want to pick. Like, I thought about this before I even recorded this video, and I still am back and forth. I've been going back and forth between who I want to pick. This is how close I am. Like, I'm not sure who I want to pick. But I think I am gonna go with Wisconsin. I'm gonna go with Wisconsin to win this one. I think Johnny Davis is a March Madness type player. He's going to turn up his game in these tournaments, and the Badgers are going to move on to the championship game for me. So Johnny Davis taking over. Purdue, lackluster defense. I think they split in the regular season. If I'm wrong, correct me in the comments. But I know that game that they had, I think it was in Mackey Arena, actually. Johnny Davis dropped almost 40 points on them, and they won that game, and they can't have that. So if they can play some defense and lock up Johnny Davis, I think Purdue can win this game, but I'm going to pick the Badgers to move on, and maybe via a buzzer beater, man. Purdue's been getting, they lost to a few buzzer beaters this year, so give me Wisconsin to move on in that one. Now we have Iowa versus Wisconsin in the Big Ten championship game. We got our 5 seed, we got our 2 seed, and I am going to pick the Wisconsin Badgers to win the Big Ten championship 2022. Give me the Badgers. And there's so many good players in the Big Ten, but Keegan Murray and also Johnny Davis, these two would go at it in the Big Ten championship. I want to see that, and let me know your guys' thoughts down below, guys. Iowa would, they like to run the pace, but how does the span of 4 games across 4 days go for them? Because Wisconsin gets an extra bye week than Iowa does, so does that have any effect? Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, but Wisconsin, they play hard defense. Johnny Davis, he can put up points. Their entire team, they can run against that team in Iowa in their play style. So yeah, I'm going to pick Wisconsin to win the championship, the Big Ten championship in 2022. So that's my picks. Like I said, let me know your thoughts about it down in the comment section below. We'll have our Big East and also our Pac-12 tournament predictions out tomorrow. Make sure you guys subscribe if you guys are new. Drop me a like if you guys enjoyed. And yeah, it's been your boy Danny, and I'm out.